So now we learned about links, which allow us to navigate from A to B. Sometimes you need to navigate programmatically, because a form was submitted, for example. And I want to show this as well. So let's say on the page for a specific client, we now also have a button. And when this button is pressed, we want to load project A for this client. Now we could absolutely use a link here if we just want to have a clickable thing that navigates somewhere else. I'm just using this button here, to show how you could navigate imperatively. Typically, of course, you would not do that to replace a link, but to navigate in code when some action completed, when you parsed a form that was submitted, for example. But here, to learn how imperative navigation works, a button will do. So we have this button, and when the button is clicked, we want to navigate away. So therefore, first of all, we can define another function here in this component function, so a nested function, which should be triggered when the button is clicked. So the load project handler function, for example. Now we want to assign this function to this button here, and we do this through the onClick prop. Again, that is just standard React, nothing Next.js specific. Now in this function here, we might be doing all kinds of things, load data or anything like that. And once we're done, we want to navigate away. So when we do need to navigate in code, like we do here, then we can again use this router object, which we get from useRouter. And this object has a couple of properties, a couple of values we already saw before, but it also has a couple of methods that help us. For example, it has the push method to navigate to a different page. So using router push is like using the link component, just programmatically. And therefore here we can then go to /clients/max/project A, for example. If we now save this, and I go to Maximilian page and I click on load project A, I'm taken to /clients/max/project A. So that's how we can navigate programmatically. If we use router replace instead of push, then we replace the current page with that one, which means we can't go back after the navigation. And we can also not just pass in a string here, but again, just as before for the link, we can also pass in an object here, where we then set a path name to /clients/ID/client project ID to encode these two dynamic segments into this path. And then set our query object to a nested object where we provide a concrete value for ID, in this case max, and a concrete value for client project ID, in this case, let's say project A. And that would simply be an alternative to creating or using a string. And if I do that, and I go back and reload, if I click load project A, that still works. So that's how we can navigate programmatically, which is also sometimes required, especially, as mentioned, for example, after submitting a form.